Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and it is time for the latest Costco haul. Vegan Prepper. Vegan Prepper. Okay, so, as usual, I will start with the frozen stuff, and so this time it's just one thing. I got one more package of organic broccoli, 4 pounds worth, and yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and go throw that in my freezer. All right, so as usual here, we'll start with a shot of the entire haul for anybody who just doesn't really have time to stick around. If you wanna just sort of look and pause and then leave, that is totally fine. So as we're moving into the warmer months, it's kind of fantastic. We're getting more and more produce options again at the Costco. So I'm purchasing more varieties of produce, which I love. So summer is kind of, I have a love-hate relationship with summer. I dislike, obviously, what happens to us during the summers here in central Arizona, but I really do appreciate that we're getting the produce of other parts of the country. Because seriously, we could grow so much fresh food like this in the fall and winter months, but we don't, because anyway, whatever. I'm getting ready to go on a tangent, and I won't. So let's start with Power Greens. Happy Power Greens. So these I use in smoothies and then for cooking, like throwing into soups. Pretty much every meal I make, I attempt to throw some greens in. Then I also have some of the organic spring mix. This is for salads, but also anytime we're using greens in a meal where they end up being raw, even if they're not like a salad. So for instance, for tacos or something, like the greens that would go in the bottom of a taco or into a burrito or something, that would be these. So yeah, I have 2 different kinds of greens. And then we have a big organic watermelon. This is the first time I've seen the nice big organic watermelons back in Costco in a while. This one looks really good, so I got it. Unfortunately, if I'm remembering right, it was like $9. I am putting the prices on the screen, obviously. So last time I purchased it, though, it was $5.99, so that has gone up quite a lot. And so it's a slight bummer because this used to be kind of like my go-to budget fruit choice, because it was only $6 for all of, like, a huge amount of fruit. Once you get that cut up, it's massive. We'll still use it, but I don't know. I'll have to sort of do some calculations on that and see if that is still going to be like my budget fruit choice through the summer. Because I've shared on the channel many times before, we have a semi-seasonal income, although with Adam's new position, it's not quite like that anymore. But still, summer is a very lean time for us. And so I have to be extra careful. And so I really do appreciate watermelon for that. So hopefully that ends up still being the case. Like, it still ends up being a really good budget option. It is also, not to spend too much time on this, this is the #1 heat recovery food. Cucumbers are also pretty good, but there is nothing like watermelon. It doesn't even have to be cold. It replenishes your electrolytes, and it makes you feel good if you've gone out into the heat and you've gotten even like to the point where you're like sick to your stomach and you're almost even loopy, which can happen to us pretty quickly around here. I almost always have, or not really almost, I just basically always have watermelon on hand for anybody who gets caught in the heat for whatever reason. And then we eat watermelon and then you get recovered so quickly. So that's kind of like my top tip. So it's another thing I really love about watermelon. Okay, moving on. We got 2 pineapples. So they look pretty ready. I'm going to leave them out on my counter until this evening. And then just every couple hours, I'm going to come and I'm going to give them a turn. And then hopefully that'll be enough time to sort of redistribute the sugars. And then we will cut into those and get those in the fridge. Who am I kidding? They will probably disappear tonight, but my hope is to have a little bit left over, like for lunches and stuff. But we, you know, when we're cutting into pineapple, we kind of descend upon it and it doesn't really last, but it's delicious and we love it and I'm okay with that. So a 2-pound batch of organic strawberries, just, you know, strawberries, organic medjool dates, the 2-pound package. I really love these. This is one of my absolute favorite kind of higher calorie plant snacks, like all natural snacks. To sort of cut one of these in half, put a little bit of sun butter in there and maybe just like 3 chocolate chips on top, and it tastes like just insane. You don't need the chocolate chips, but if you add those chocolate chips, it feels like you're eating Reese's or something. Like it's just so good. So I'm getting those on hand. So that's handy for as we eat cleaner. we tend to eat a lot cleaner in the summer because we have less money. So these are just really great kind of high calorie, clean snacks. And so I get those and they're fantastic. Just a bag of Mandarin oranges, delicious and handy for lunches. Actually, my son, when we have these in the house, he takes like 4 in his lunch every single day. So we just really enjoy those. And a couple of bags of Gala apples. So my plan is to go ahead and, like, a lot of the stuff, like when we have an abundance of fruit, I like to try to prepare as much of it as possible so that more of it gets eaten. So I'm going to be washing these in like a very light vinegar solution. So just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, let them sit in the water for a little bit. And then after they have sat in the water for a little bit, just go ahead and let them dry, usually out on a towel. And then I just throw them into a container with a cloth in the bottom or in the top. And then you flip the container over and they will last. Like, you just replace the cloth every single time it feels moist. They will last up to 2 weeks if you do that vinegar rinse. And so that's really great, even like for raspberries, blueberries, things like that. Not that we have that much trouble going through them, especially. So when you do that, you'll find that the fruit disappears faster because there's no hurdle to jump to eat the fruit. So I have to just try to make the fruit and stuff as easy to eat as the chips. But yeah, these are going to get washed and put out into a bowl so that they're just like a grab and go snack. And so let me move, I guess, kind of more back this way. I've got the bleepin sauce. This is my oldest son's all-time favorite. And so I just bought another one because we're completely out. And Costco has a really good price on that compared to what it is in other stores for a much smaller container. A container of this Costco salsa, which we like pretty well, especially for kind of cool taco season in our house. I like to have a good salsa on hand. A big thing of hummus. I do like to make my own, but this is just such a good price. And I know technically making my own would still be cheaper, but I feel like I'm okay for now paying a little extra just because I actually need some for a meal I'm making tonight. And I don't have time to make my own hummus before that meal. So I just went ahead and grabbed some. So if it looks like we're not going to get through it all, because this is quite a lot, what I do is I take it and I put it into smaller ball jars, usually like an 8-ounce size, and then I'll freeze it. And so that's how we'll do it. Then just pull it right out of the freezer. It defrosts beautifully, and then you just use it as normal. I went ahead and got another package of these avocado, I don't know what they are, little avocado packets, I guess. They were on sale, very inexpensive. I don't think I could even buy this quantity of organic avocado, like, for that much. I don't like the packaging, but this is another one of those things. It's like my boys still, they leave the house, they go to lunch, this is still something that's handy for them to take. So I do buy it, especially when it has a really good price. And then also we don't end up wasting avocados because typically avocados end up going to waste in our house, kind of no matter how hard I try. So anyway, there's that. I feel guilty about it, okay? But anyway, that's more just for the functioning of our family as it is right now. I bought some of these bars. So the good news is they've increased the number of bars in the package, and I'm pretty sure the price didn't even increase, which is weird because now I'm wondering, are the bars smaller? So the bummer though is that now they have blueberry and raspberry, and they got rid of my favorite, which is just the plain fig. But in a way, maybe that's good because I don't need to be eating these. But this is the same kind of thing with my boys in and out of the house, something that's really fast for them to grab and toss into a lunch. Especially my younger son is involved in drama production at school, and he's having rehearsals sometimes pretty late into the evening with not even coming home from school, and he's gone like all day long. And so something that's easy to pack, but that's also definitely, some of this is going to be going into his food that I make for him, like the dates with the sun butter and the chocolate chips for that higher calorie snack. But anyway, it's just sort of the way that we have to live right now. But anyway, also some spiced rum. So my thoughts on that right now are, well, for one thing, when I make my tinctures, like that right there, those are some tinctures I've made. Every single one of them is made with this rum. So the alcohol water ratio is actually pretty close to 50-50. It's 46% alcohol. So that's what I use for pretty much all of my dry tinctures. And that's usually correct. There are certain plants that need a different ratio. One of my favorite books of all time, Making Plant Medicine, really goes into a lot of detail on that. I can link it down below for anybody who's interested. So I am getting it though, just to make sure that I have it on hand, because some of our most important, most used medicines in our house is the ones that I make from this rum. And I want to make sure that I don't ever lose access to it. But I also had a thought, because rum is made from sugarcane, that hopefully it would remain easy to get, even if we end up having awful wheat and grain shortages. Now, I am not super familiar with alcohol. I'm pretty sure vodka is made from corn, or I don't know, but some of the liquors that people use in their herbal medicine making are made from wheat and whatnot. So I'm sort of concerned with coming wheat shortages, whether or not people will have access to those liquors. So if you are into making your own herbal tinctures and extracts and whatnot, it may be a good thing for you to look into what different liquors are made out of and maybe switch to try to get something. But I've been using this for years and I love it. So I'm just going to keep getting that. Okay. We got kombucha. We obviously dug into it already. So we love kombucha in this house. Hopefully one of these months, Azure Standard will actually have my kombucha starter in stock, and I will get it and I'll be able to just make it without, having to purchase it, because it is crazy expensive. So this is definitely one. I do not want to be getting more kombucha kind of as we're going into summer. I want to be making it myself. So hopefully I get my starter eventually. The organic all-purpose flour is more of a stocking thing. Again, kind of looking ahead to the very real possibility that we're facing wheat shortages, just for so many varied reasons. Maybe I should talk about it at some point. I don't know, but like every prepping channel under the sun right now is talking about this right now, because it's real and because it's happening. So while this is still this inexpensive, even though I don't personally use all-purpose flour, I'm going to be buying one of these every single time I go to a Costco. It's 20 pounds of flour at a time for a very small price. It will store, for 20 years or more. If I get it into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, it'll last for a very long time. So once we get through some of our whole wheat, whole grains, if we can't get more, I will still have this on hand for making things like our bread and things like that. So this is more of a thinking ahead thing. Yeah, hopefully it won't come up. It will probably come up. Please start grabbing wheat and flour wherever you can, little by little. Okay. This is my pack of corn tortillas. So it is over 100, right? It's 110 corn tortillas for $5. So I just made a book about buying in bulk and making everything from scratch in order to save money, which obviously is great. And I do many ways, but there's a few things I kind of don't do that. But this has to be one of the major exceptions. I cannot make these as cheap as I can buy them. So there's definitely always going to be exceptions to every rule. This is ours. And so, yeah, we have our corn tortillas for making all of our tacos and our quesadillas, although they're not quesadillas, they're bean dias. We just do refried beans and then just cook them, and they're delicious. And that's literally all that is involved. But yeah, there's our corn tortillas. I got a little bit more cacao powder. So this is just something that we use quite a lot of. We make a lot of hot chocolate mix as like a sweet treat in the house. And so I try to always make sure I have a little bit of this on hand. So I think this is going to be my second bag going into my storage. This is another food that will last, for anywhere from 20 years, even longer, if it's stored correctly. Now that doesn't mean I'm putting everything into Mylar bags immediately, but like if it starts kind of getting close to the date and I haven't used it yet, then I will probably put it into Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber at that point. And so a lot of these dates, especially for foods like these that are kind of forever foods, are a little bit arbitrary. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, this is something that I'm trying to make sure that we keep on hand because we really do love it. Tofu is just tofu. I'm not using it as much as I used to for just like regular eating. I'm actually attempting to make space in my freezer right now, which is completely full of tempeh. So we're going to be eating a lot more tempeh in the coming weeks. But this is still handy for certain things, mainly our lasagna recipe, which uses tofu, makes a tofu ricotta. Actually using the hummus. That's what I need the hummus for tonight. And so I am just keeping tofu on hand mainly for using in recipes. And then my tomato paste. If you have watched the channel for any length of time whatsoever, you probably know about me and my tomato paste. So this just can turn into everything under the sun, it seems. Mexican, Indian, Italian food, like just so many different things. And I do use it for so many different things. And it's one of those things that is just such a staple to our family's diet that I'm not willing to ever run out. So pretty much every single time I go to Costco, I get a couple of these. And my goal is to build up a year's supply of just tomato paste. And I don't have that yet. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. And also it was out of Costco for several months. So because I do this, we never ran out. But now, because of those months, I'm having to rebuild my stock. I was on my way to a year's supply. Didn't make it then either. So hopefully I'll make it this time. But yeah, I got my tomato paste. For me personally too, it also saves a lot of space. So this is another one of those things for those of you who have said to me, how do you stock when you don't have space? Sometimes it's changing the way you stock something. So for instance, the tomato paste, 1 can of tomato paste, as far as I can tell, is about equal to 2 cans of diced tomatoes as far as like flavorings, like when you're making a chili recipe or whatever. Obviously, you're not going to get the chunks of tomato there, but it still ends up being really good. And then this is like it takes up way less space. You know, tomato cans are little. They take up way less space than getting diced tomatoes or tomato sauce or, you know, whatever form of tomato you end up getting, because you can make tomato sauce for sure you can make from tomato paste. So anyway, yes, I love tomato paste. And then the very last thing, oh shoot, I thought that I hid that from you. That's my plug for plugging in my light, because I'm planning on filming later at the table. But the very final thing is just a couple of bags of these organic tortilla chips. This is just the cheapest way to buy chips that I know, for like organic, good quality chips. I cannot find chips of this quantity, you know, like organic for any cheaper. And then obviously because we have the salsa, so somebody's going to want chips. And so that's actually Adam's favorite snack every night when he comes home from work. If we have chips and salsa, that's what he eats as his little snack. And my younger son as well, Elliot, loves chips and salsa. My older son, Thad, likes chips and guac. So anyway, I've got everyone covered. Okay, so that is the full haul, and hopefully you enjoyed that or got anything out of it. I know my haul videos end up getting kind of long. Okay, so that little bit of weirdness was me pausing, flipping the camera around, and then not recording what I was saying. So let me re-record the outro. I know that my haul videos get long. And I appreciate everybody who sticks around, but I just assume that you're kind of like me. Like when I watch a haul video, I'm not only interested in the what, I'm also interested in the why and the thought process behind why people buy what they do, because I oftentimes find that some of what they're saying applies to me. And so then I end up with a new thing that I buy that really helps our family. So that's why I always talk about everything, even though I have to learn how to balance that, I know. But yeah, thank you for everyone who sticks around and for everybody who gives such sweet messages and says that the content helps you. That is definitely the only reason that I'm really doing this, is to help people. And it just makes me, or, you know, it warms my heart to think that that's actually happening. So anyway, as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.